tried my best. So veterans service report attached, do we need to take any action on that?
No, you don't. It's just
Okay, just for information only. All right, next is the new business Cottontown Community Center and old post office property. Before we do public comments, I'm very aware of what's going on in this community. A lot of you may know who I am or not, or been aware of the fight that myself and Commissioner Mo Taylor spearheaded about the sewer gate and Greenway Gate 3 years ago with the school and Upper Station Camp, and a lot of stuff that we uncovered and exposed that you're kind of the tip of the spear of. You're on one end. So this is a lot bigger issue than just your little area. This we're uncovered. This is the tip of the iceberg, and there's a big iceberg that's going to sink the Titanic. So this is a good discussion, but it's not going to end here. So I just want to let you guys know that we're just starting the discussion tonight, not ending it. And so that being said, we probably won't take any action for lack of time versus hearing public comments, talk about the issue at hand, and more than likely, we'll move to defer this to old business for November so we can keep carrying this forward and have discussion going forward. I know that you guys are doing that community meeting. So without objection, I want to go ahead and open the floor to public comments. And J.K. Brister is up first. And I know you said you'd keep it at 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, I'm gonna.
But you got 5 minutes if you want it, but.
Okay, thank you.
3 minutes if you can.
I'm gonna cut it down. First question, I'd like to say thank y'all for doing this.
Apologize,
I'd like
let me
to-
make a motion first.
Okay.
We have a motion to approve this for discussion and for public comments. So, motion by Commissioner Klein, you have a second by Commissioner Teacher. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
So reclaiming my time. Can I
Reclaim your
start?
time.
Okay.
I even give you an extra minute. I give you bonus time. So go ahead.
So, first thing, formality wise, I'd like to thank.
One question, JK,
Okay,
sorry.
I'm J.K. Brister,
And your address.
and I'm from 1489 Upper Station Camp Creek Road in Cottontown. It's very important, Cottontown. So,
We'll add 30 more seconds.
okay, thank you. So, I wanted to thank the committee for having this tonight. I wanted to thank all of you for allowing it to get on the agenda, because this last Sunday, and Mayor, thank you for everything that you're doing. Just one question, how many people are here from Cottontown? Now I want to show you that. Every one of these people represents about 150 people in Cottontown, and there's 2,360 family homes in 44 square miles. There might be rental properties and other things. These are real landowners, real people, and their wealth is in their land. Their life is in their land, their history of their families. So I'm going to go down the list real quick. We are creating a corporation for Cottontown. The citizens, meaning we've got 3 or 4 families or 5 families that we want to get involved to create a corporation to take back the community's property and manage it the way Shane, Mr. Jimmy did for 30, 40 years. They had keys to it. 5 years ago, it was locked by Anthony Holt's guy, and told people there that managed it, spent tens of thousands of dollars to keep it up, you can't be here because Anthony Holt told me to protect this place. They left, came back 3 days later for a family reunion, and he had changed the locks on the door and went around telling everybody that no one here wanted to use that community center. People said that the men and women that went to school there till 6th grade were dead. Well, there were 30 of them minimum, 20 of them at least at Sunday. Over 200 people showed up. That's over 10% of Cottontown. You can't get a national poll to get 10% of the country, or a state poll. So I'll just say this, we're creating a corporation, we're paying for it at our expense, which I think I got an email, and I mentioned it to you about the original corporation is who sold it to Dale Phillips in the school.
Gave it.
$10.
$10.
And then Dale Phillips gave it to the county, which is you. And you as citizens, but not you as commissioners. We pay the taxes. They gave it to us, so we want it back. That's all I'm gonna say about that, and then I'll say this. 16 years, we didn't have a voice. 16 years, none of these people showed up here. 16 years, everybody knew they couldn't get anything done. But with the new 14 and the new mayor and what they promised us, we're gonna get that community center back, we're gonna protect Cottontown, we're gonna do what they promised us and why we elected them, and then we're gonna take care of the rest of the rural communities too. So thank y'all.
Thank you, JK. I will add just a comment, tagging what JK said. The part of what adding this to the agenda was to look into declaring this surplus property to be able to give back to the community because it was given essentially to the county 3 years ago. So it was given to the county 3 years ago, right before the whole sewer greenway stuff. So you start looking at the timeline of things, it's literally a new phenomenon. Just a little over 3 years ago that the county acquired this. And so the goal is, my recommendation in the citizens' request is that we look at ways how to give that back to the citizens once something is formed as a trust or a corporation or it's a community health thing as it was before, and kind of restoring that so we can make sure there's no further destruction of property and make sure there aren't any plans to bulldoze the rest of Cottontown. So,
Can I have 30 more seconds?
yes, since I interrupted. you,
Okay,
took
so
me
Miss
time.
Draper is in the corner. Over 200 people, she walked up to me, I'd never seen her before, and she had tears in her eyes. And she hugged me and said, "Thank you for saving my mama's house, the Draper home," which was on a line item on a piece of paper that said it didn't matter. It mattered. These people matter, Cottontown matters. So I just want to say that, and I was encouraged today with John, and I met him this morning, and he echoed everything we've been saying and what he said before, and I was very encouraged that he doesn't want the greenway, he doesn't want that sewer pipe to go to 25, and he wants to protect Cottontown, and he told me that today. And if he didn't say he would say it publicly, I wouldn't have said nothing about it, but he said, "I promise that's what I've always wanted, and I want to protect Cottontown." And I would thank you, John. And I'd like to hear him say it, Mr. Chairman, if one of y'all after we're done talking would ask him and he could say it, that he's gonna do it. Because he told me today, he had no problem, he was very honest. And I wanna say I backed John for 15 years, we've been fighting together, and I've always supported him, and I always will. When he's right, just like y'all. When he's wrong, I'll stand against him. But I don't hate John. I don't hate nobody. Y'all shouldn't hate nobody either. But nobody's taken our Cottontown. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you want to respond to that right now, give you an opportunity or.
Yeah, and I think, you know, with this whole scenario, one, talking about creating the corporation, we do need to be very purposeful in how that's created.
Right.
And so, we have this FEMA contract that's looming, it's still there. And that was entered in by the private citizens. So we do have to address that, and I've got some thoughts on that.
Okay.
That if we're going to prolong this for a month, I think there's a way to do this that's an equitable way to do it, and still maintain our relationship with FEMA, because we do want to maintain that, because there will be other citizens like the problem that they had near John Paul where they bought those properties. We want that opportunity still open for other citizens when they want to enter into that agreement with FEMA for flood mitigation. So what I would suggest is that we leave from this meeting and then start the discussions about how you're going to frame this and make sure that it's done within the legal guidelines. And I think we bring in Ben Allen on that, and
Sure,
and
that's
then find
definitely,
the equitable way to do it.
yeah, and we can discuss that for sure, but I just didn't know if you wanted to address,
Yeah.
JK's.
So it didn't, that just addressed FEMA. That didn't say you were not for the greenway and not for the pipe and not for all that, because I just wanted you on record.
Oh, yeah, no, the Greenway is gone, and I certainly don't think the commission will bring up the Greenway again, and I do not support the Greenway. not where they were doing that and what they've done to the homes and the Holmes property and the Hibbs property. And I'm still working on trying to figure out why it's not finished. Answers are
That'd be a
difficult.
good question. So, does that answer your question? Is that-
Yes, sir.
All right.
John?
You good?
Thank you. Now, I wanted to restore any misconceptions of John or us or anything, and I wanted, because John told us that he was against all this. And this act by the previous commission got slid through, and you and Matt Schoaf were on there. And it ain't just, might not be just as much his fault, like it's everybody's. Everybody missed it. But it ain't y'all's fault. It ain't their fault. I'm just gonna say it out loud. John has always told me that Cottontown wasn't on the sledge. And when you hear my brother Shane here, he'll say the same thing. But somehow it got through there. But the only person who could stop it was John. And now I know publicly you said it on the record that you're gonna fight with the commission to protect Cottontown and do everything that we can do. And if one lawyer writes it, one lawyer can get rid of it. I know y'all can do this.
All right, thank you, Jim. Yeah, we're gonna
Thank
move
you,
on.
John.
All right.
Go ahead.
Next, public comments, Shane, is it Hollis? Hollis, all right. If you wouldn't mind stating your name and
Yeah.
address for the record.
Yeah, I'm Shane Hollis. I live at 234 County House Road. And I'm like JK, I want to thank you guys. I had no idea you guys worked this hard and this late. Some of you I know personally. I know what you do during the day, and wow, I just appreciate everything. And I hope that some of the people that are here don't mind me speaking on your behalf. I haven't lived in Cottontown quite as long as a lot of you. I've met a few of you, don't know all of you, okay? This is only a handful of people that would have liked to have been here. You gotta understand, we're still a farming community, and when I started making some more phone calls, I said, don't forget our meeting night, they're still getting beans up, they're still getting hay out of the field and stuff, and they just can't be here. And if they knew that it was gonna carry on till my bedtime,
Right.
because I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, they would have probably been here. So I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, but what I want you guys to understand is a lot of history in Cottontown. I've been learning a whole lot of, I live on probably one of the oldest roads there, and my road used to be called County House Hollow. And there was an old house back there I've heard of. I've got 350 acres beside me, got a 1,000-acre farm in front of me, supposed to be the largest parcel in Sumner County that we would really love to protect. After coming to the meetings and you hear people talking, you know, well, nobody stood up. Nobody cared about the place, you know. And I don't say I lost interest. I used to be on the board. Mr. Bricky was the president and Miss Carolyn Smith was the treasurer, and we raised money. We put on horse rides and we had chili there, and we did everything we could to raise money to keep the place up. You know, life changes. I'm 4 kids and 9 grandchildren strong now, and my role in this life has changed to the point I'm up at 4 and I get home when it gets dark because my wife says I have to. So those things change, you know, or I'd be working all night long. So what I'm trying to say to y'all is Cottontown is alive. She's got a heartbeat. And if you'll come, if you'll come stand on my back porch at night, she'll talk to you and you can hear her. Because I only live a portion of the 2-mile road that I live on down. And at night, it's so quiet, I can hear Miss Debbie Lanius up on the hill calling for Nacho, come in the house. I tell her all the time, so you need to quit yelling so loud. It's that quiet out there, I promise you, the Lord's my witness, you know. But she's alive and we do care about her. I just wasn't able to keep spending as much time on the place. And, you know, we assumed it was always gonna be there. When I started telling people, hey, you know they're fixing to tear that thing down. Who gave them permission to do that? We all thought we owned our little town, you know? Just because we passed it by doesn't mean we don't care about it.
Right.
I'm old, but I'm not old enough to go to that school. You know, it's part of our history. And you just, well, somebody just took part of our history away. And I think a lot of it is part of the guy that I voted for. I'm not here to throw stones or say anything bad about anybody. I still like Anthony. I think some bad decisions have been made. I just wish there was a way that we could have known, hey, this thing's gonna come down, you guys need to come on out. So now I've got memories. And I don't wanna start calling everybody out. Some of you here I know personally. My son was married in somebody here's front yard. We got memories there. And that young man that you married has 3 children now. You know, he lives in a very beautiful home. I would hate for one day he'd come home and see one of his favorite trees out in front of this beautiful house he lives in gone because somebody in the county says, hey, I need to take that thing down. And before you got home, it's gone. Well, that's pretty much what happened to our little schoolhouse, man. you know, beautiful little place. Now what we're wondering is, how can we protect what little bit we've got left, which are the two little houses there? I was told they were gonna be moved up to this site. Why, I don't know. It's a great place because they won't flood up there. The people, I've heard comments that, oh, it's a flood zone. I've never seen that little schoolhouse flood right there the whole time I've been. My street has. I can roll a boat down that thing and get you over very close to it. The little houses down there, Drake House, they've been under some water, but they're okay. It can be fixed.
Right.
Did the floor in the schoolhouse need to be fixed? Sure it did. We could have fixed it if we'd just known. We just assumed it's always going to be there. Guys, we got to quit tearing down the history. You know, we're not much out there and we're close. Some of you here I hadn't probably spoke to in 5, 10 years, but if you picked up the phone, we'd be there for you. You know, trees come down on the road, they come by and holler because they know I got equipment to get stuff out of the road. Fire department needs help, we're there. You know, Lord God knows we've had I don't know how many wrecks out there, and some of us are there just directing traffic while the rest of them are there doing their thing.
23 in 5 years.
Yeah, pretty rough, pretty rough. So I don't know if y'all can help with that, we'd sure appreciate it if you could, whatever you could. So I'm just saying all this, that thank you guys for being here. Please help us protect what we've got left. She's beautiful out there, we wanna keep her that way. We're a farming community. We don't need the greenways, we don't need your sewage, all of our separate things are working just fine. We don't wanna be annexed into Gallatin, because God knows we pay enough already in taxes. You know, the farms are getting eat up little by little. Fred, my neighbor Fred Lehman beside me, God, he's got 350 acres, he still farms half of it around through there. We need these places, guys, food's gotta come from somewhere. He was another one that's gonna be here, he's on combine tonight, you know. We care, and they're here, and there are more out there. If you need us to be here, you know, we'll shut the machines off and come on in. But just be there for us. We're alive. We're not dead. We're just working a whole lot right now. This crazy world takes it. So I appreciate everything. Glad you got to hear me, and hopefully you can do something good for us. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Mr. Hall. I can't read is this Elizabeth Michael, or?
Yes,
is that
sir,
right?
sure is.
All right. If you wouldn't mind coming up and state your name for the record officially and your address, that'd be fantastic. You got 5 minutes.
My name is Elizabeth Michael. I live at 1745A Garrison Branch, formerly Hardison Way, off of Garrison Branch. Now, how many of you commissioners have a good imagination? 1, 2, 3. The rest of you don't have an imagination. I got a bit of a problem then. Can I borrow your hat? Switch me real quick.
All right, I don't need to do that. We're gonna,
Well, I won't put it all the way on, I
all
promise.
right.
All right, now can you see the farmer? Okay, I see 3 of you going, yeah. All right. Okay, the 3 of you, imagine the great big, you know, overall, the blue one with the gold pockets and the hammer hanging off the side. All right, now, here we go. Presentation time. Genesis 2:8, and the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. He made the garden because he needed to feed us. Psalms 23, everybody familiar with that one? He maketh me to lie down in green pastures, he leadeth me beside still waters. Folks, that's a farm.
Right.
That's a farm. Farms all through here. That's the Bible. God made us, and he put us in a garden. And then he made the farmer, because he needed somebody to take care of that farm. Because if nobody took care of the farm, you guys all starve. You city dwellers need us. You need the green spaces, the unused properties to grow the hay that feeds the cow that makes your hamburger, to grow the corn that feeds the chicken that you eat on Sunday. You need the farms. If you kill the farms, you kill the civilization. And there are precedents all through history for that. The Olmecs, they overpopulated, underfarmed, and got decimated. They ended up being swallowed by the Toltecs. The Toltecs, overpopulated, underfarmed, decimated, swallowed into the Aztecs. The Aztecs, overpopulated, underfarmed, and where are they? They're gone. All of them. The only thing we have left now is like 2% Mayans they're mostly gone. And what happened with them? It wasn't just the Spaniards came in and invaded and brought their illnesses. They were starting to do exactly what the Olmecs, the Toltecs, and the Aztecs did before them. They were starting to overpopulate and underfarm. What happens when you don't have the food? My farm right now is growing timber. If I don't grow the timber, how do you build your house? If I don't grow the timber, how do you heat yours? If I don't grow the timber, where do you get the walnuts? Where do you get the almonds? Those are all trees. So not every farm is animals or vegetables. Some farms are timber. Yeah, it seems like the land is being unused, but it's not. I'm growing the timber that builds your house. I'm growing the timber that heats yours. I'm growing the trees where you come get your walnuts and your almonds. Yes, the Hardison farm at many times has done vegetables or animals. My great-grandpa Bert out there growing his tobacco. My grandpa Hardison out there with his cows. Heck, my grandpa Bert died 2 months after I was born, coming back from the tobacco field because one of the cows got out. Farms aren't just. We aren't just. We're the people that grow the trees, that grow the vegetables, that grow the hay. We are a jewel. Granted, we're in the rough, but if you polish us, we die. We need those rough edges. We need the green spaces. If we don't have the rough edges and the green spaces, you guys don't have houses that you can heat. You don't have food. And your animals die. Your animals die. What do you eat? Cottontown is on the doorstep of Gallatin. If we come up with an agreement between Gallatin and Cottontown, Cottontown doesn't die, Gallatin doesn't die. Everybody respects their boundaries. We have the farms that support the city. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Michael?
for listening.
Thank you. Next up, we have Ray Hurt. Ray Hurt? Okay, Hurt, sorry. If you wouldn't mind stating your name for the record, for our record keeper, and your address, please.
All right. I'm Kay Hurt, and I am 541 Bug Hollow Road, right in the middle of Cottontown. I'm not a native of Cottontown, but I've had an interest in Cottontown since 1969. I moved there in 1980. I feel that we should continue with the plan the county has put in motion. I come out Bug Hollow, when I do, I'm right in the center of town. I have seen what has gone on and has not been cared for many years. Anthony Holt worked hard and long at trying to get this done. And the way it was done was with the help of FEMA because of the flooding in 2010. So it is not going to be like it was if we continue this plan. Of course, the county owns Bridle House. The county owns where the school was. It is kept well. I commend the county for doing that. We don't know what might happen if the county doesn't own it. And we know if the county owns it, that they are going to take care of it. So my thought is we need to continue with what the county has on the books to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hurt. Next, we have Rebecca Goddard. If you would mind stating your name for the record officially and your address for the record.
I'm Rebecca Goddard, and my address is 2339A New Hope Road, Hendersonville. And I just want you to imagine being forced out of your home of 54 years. Because behind you, they sold the El Toro Marine Base, where you used to watch the Blue Angels practice every day and have these amazing sunsets. And 20 days of the year, you got to see the ocean. And the encroachment of LA County onto your home. And the green spaces and the green belts. They call them green belts in California, whatever. The pathways from crap to your home that become drug dens and homeless camps and places where no good is done. And I know that I am probably the shortest timer resident of Sumner County here. And we picked Sumner County because we were forced from our home. They built 35,000 homes on El Toro Marine Base. 35,000. But they didn't widen the road. They didn't make good choices. They made poor planning choices to put the most money in their pocket. And I didn't have a farm. I just had a house. But I had a beautiful home. And I came here to Sumner County. We did months and months of research of where to go for our two special needs kids and a rural life in a rural place, in a place that met our values, because California was no longer that. And I see that happening here. And my heart breaks for you people because you don't know what it's like to have your home destroyed, literally destroyed before your eyes because of money, property, and prestige. And I only have a couple little acres here, and I'm learning about the land, and I'm learning how to take care of it. But I will never let anyone take my home from me again, or push me out because they need to have 20 new houses next door. I've only been here 8 months, and the landscape has changed so much on New Hope to Tyree Springs through White House. It's completely different than it was in January when I got here. I don't necessarily think that, I don't know. What I want to say is that there's people here, and there's people that want to do the right thing, and that deserve to hold on to their history and their homes, and keep this a place that their children can grow old, and they can watch their grandchildren. That's what I want. That's why I picked Tennessee. That's why I picked Sumner County. That's why I picked Sumner County specifically. If I showed you all the research I did, you would just, it was way too much, but I did it because this was a place I saw that I could love. And I have grown to love it in a short period of time. And I just will do whatever I can to knock California my Tennessee.
Thank you, Ms. Ryder. Mr. John Hurt is next. If you wouldn't mind stating your name and address for the record.
My name is John Hurt. I live at 1030 South Browns Lane here in Gallatin, but I grew up at 541 Boat Hollow Road since I was 9 years old. I'm not sure what this corporation really wants. I didn't get to attend the meeting this past Sunday, so I'm not sure if they're asking for rezoning of land, for larger acreage tracts, not being able to break land up into smaller pieces, and I'm not really sure where they're going with this. This all started with the schoolhouse property, Fran Oglesby's property where it flooded out, and then of course the Draper property where the old post office sits now, which flooded also, which has all been taken care of through FEMA and bought and turned over to the county. I'm not sure what kind of stewardship we're gonna have with this property. You know, that's my question on this. I've been in Cottontown all my life. You know, I can remember going when I was a little bitty kid playing in Station Camp Creek, headwaters of Station Camp Creek. For some of you, you know, some of you may not have been there as long as I have. I'm 51 years old this year, and I've been going all my life. The Cottontown Community Center, the old schoolhouse, used to be under a community organization. I can remember it being pretty well unkept for a long time. And that also goes towards the schoolhouse being in the shape that it eventually got to. So, you know, that's neither here nor there, it's gone now. But the properties were kept well. I mean, just like the Bridal House, you can see how well it's kept, the mowing and all, it's a whole lot nicer than what it used to be. They do that on the other side of the road also with where the old schoolhouse was. So that's the only thing I think about turning it over to a corporation. Also, how's a corporation gonna function? I mean, where's the money gonna come from? I mean, are we gonna implement property tax in Cottontown? I mean, you know, how does that work? Because you gotta be able, I mean, I assume if you're gonna get the old schoolhouse property, you guys gonna put a building on it? I mean, we're gonna have a new community center. You know, we don't know the plans, and that's the thing. There's a lot, Cottontown is a huge area of Sumner County, okay? Huge. And there are a lot of people that live in the Cottontown zip code that don't know anything about what's going on with this. And that needs to happen. If you all want to be serious about this, you need to make sure that people know, okay? So you can get all the opinions, all the yays, all the nays, all of it. Because for the most part, when I understand, if you're not on your Facebook page, you don't know. And a lot of these old-time Cottontown people, they don't do Facebook, you know. So that's my main concern. More people need to know what's going on before this commission takes anything up for a vote to transfer a property out of the county into a corporation or anything like that. I'm not necessarily against it, we just need to know more, okay? So, thank you, appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd. All right, next up, we have Tracy Finnegan. If you wouldn't mind again stating your name for the record and your address, please. Thank you.
Hey, Jim.
My name is Tracy Finnegan. I live at 737 Shun Pike in Cottontown. I've lived in Sumner County for about 29 years from California. And for 15 years, it was my dream to be in Cottontown. I have 4.5 acres and 5 beehives. I was shocked and saddened to see and hear, you know, the community center was demolished. So you've gotten my attention, Sumner County. I'm not sure how it happened. I'm not sure why it happened. And please know with all due respect that this is unacceptable. Sumner County needs to make sure that a building of this age and this importance should never be destroyed again without careful forethought. Who would care, right? Ask yourself, who would care? Why would they care? What would my constituents care? That, like, we all care, right? You need to care. Without care, what are we? And I drove by every day, and that just, seeing that building that I had no family ties to, it was a part of me. It was a part of the quality of my life. And I'll be honest, to see the rubble, it's kind of shocking. Like, you think stuff like it happens in California, to see it happen right here. So this was a mistake. Mistakes happen, right? Let's make sure mistakes like this don't ever happen again. What other little community centers? Bethpage, Westmore. I've been in Sumner County for 29 years. There's no better place, right? But now we need to learn this. We could turn this into a huge lesson, right? A huge wake-up call. Why and how did this happen? How did I let this happen on my watch, right?
Right.
And so Again, we need to make sure this doesn't ever happen again. There's consequences to actions. Sumner County needs to make it right. So if I were to go out and damage your property, I need to make it right. There are consequences to all actions. So Sumner County needs to come up with a way to make it right. Rebuild it, put it back. Something, it's okay. Like, we're gonna make mistakes, right? But it's like, that's where we know our true character as a county, as a community. Yeah, what are we gonna do with this corporation? You know what? Like, this is where the rubber meets the road. And when things are going great, we're not paying attention. But it's when something goes wrong that our true character, how are we gonna treat each other through this? We need to do it with respect. What I've seen here, I've been very impressed by, with the process and procedure and the forethought and you turning things around. Like, it's a lot of work, and so I respect that. And so why do people want to live here from other places? Because it's a quality of life. Now, not everyone can live in Cottontown, right? Not everyone can live in Sumner County. We can't fit everybody. It would change it. So why? Why do people want to live here? We need to hold on to what's special. I came here 29 years ago. I'll never go anywhere else. So slow down. Take your time. Do it right. We're going to grow. We've got to grow. Cottontown made room for me 2 years ago, right? We're going to grow, but let's take our time, slow down, ask some questions. It's easier to fix a no, not now than a yeah, let's do it, right? It's easier to go back and table it, think about it. And then, yeah, that was a good decision, because once it's gone, it's gone. And just one little, oh gosh, wow, what just happened? So we're trusting you. Know that we are trusting you to make decisions in our best interest. Like, our life is in your hands. We voted for you. You work for us. We do trust you, and we do have faith in you. And, I feel like you're going to do the right thing, and we need to step up as a community because they can't do it. We need to tell them what we want,
Right.
and you got my attention. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. All right, up next is Erica Brister.
Hello, my name is Erica Brister, B-R-I-S-T-E-R, and I'm at 1489 Upper Station Camp Creek Road in Cottontown, Tennessee. Let's see here, I don't even know where to begin.
At the beginning.
At the beginning, yes. So, Cottontown, what I've learned the past 2 weeks since the Cottontown Community Center got knocked down, which was a huge surprise to me because in being in business, I still do business based on people's words. If someone tells me something, I trust them, and I do business with people that based on what they tell me. And when someone isn't honest with me or they go against what they told me, I start moving in a different direction, or I don't trust them, or don't work with them. People were made aware that we wanted to revive the Cottontown Community Center, and it got torn down anyways. So, it could have been a mistake, I understand that, and it could be a blessing in disguise for our community, because what I've gotten to see over the past 2 weeks is like the amazing farmers and the amazing homeowners and people in our community. Only one person out of the 400 people that I've talked one-on-one to, I'm way better one-on-one than like in a group setting, but have said, keep going, don't stop. They're not gonna come out here and like get and grandstand it with everybody else, but they don't want us to stop pushing to protect Cottontown. They don't want us to quit making noise. They don't want to turn it over to the county or the government. And Facebook gets a lot of attention. It got all these Cottontowners here and 300 people to the Cottontown Community Center. Because when that day was happening, I didn't know if it was a funeral or if it was a celebration. And it feels like a swelling of a celebration and a revival of sorts of the community, because the sadness in people's hearts of feeling like you're suffocating from government encroachment is not a fun place to live. And if, you know, that your community, so I wanted to find out from the community, what does the community want? And this incorporation, this nonprofit, whatever it is, it's not gonna be the government. It's pretty much the starting plan of it. But we're gonna work and model after the Leapers Fork model. And hopefully this commission will model how the commission engages with that committee in Leapers Fork, so that we can learn and model it after another community. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, we just wanna save what we have and continue to grow Cottontown with its unique character that we have. We're so unique. The people of Cottontown are so beautiful, and the farms are so beautiful. And we can really develop something amazing there with the people that are there. So if you wanna have input on what that corporation is or that nonprofit, we already have 33 members that want to participate in it. The cemeterian is coming. He's got 150,000 followers on Facebook. He has a worldwide audience, and people come from all over to visit with him. We haven't ever found some of the grave sites, and he's coming to help us find those grave sites and restore them and bring a lot of attention to Cottontown. So we're having our first committee meeting on Sunday. My telephone number is 615-495-4921 if you'd like to get involved with that. We're not trying to hide anything. We're not trying to pull any wool over anybody's eyes. We just are raising 2 kids in Cottontown, trying to make a decision. Is this the community that we want to live with? Or do we need to move because people are making decisions that are going to hurt us? Because I don't do good with getting hurt. So appreciate you guys, loved everything that you guys, all the decisions that y'all made tonight. It was beautiful and very inspiring. So that's it.
Thank you, Erica. Next up is Lisa Rich. If I'm pronouncing that right, if you can state your name and address, and then the drill. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a really hard name to pronounce. I'm Lisa Rich. I'm at 697 Bug Hollow. I thought that I was probably the newest member to the community, but now I may have my fellow Californian that I didn't know previous to today, but I've been here a little bit longer. I also did an insane, crazy mother 4-year research of where we were going to move our family to. Lived in California for the first 50 years of my life. Sadly, it's a very different place from what it is now. We chose this area because of family and community. And it was a scary, scary thing, packing up everything, driving 3 days with some dogs and 9 goats and your whole life, and leaving all your family and friends behind. And it was in March, right after the big freeze last year. We've had some challenges. Blessed to, we're gonna share a neighbor, or share a road, a driveway with a neighbor that we didn't know, but luckily he's sitting there right next to me, and
We're still talking.
yeah, he is still talking, because I don't give him a choice. He can't run from me, I know where he lives, so it doesn't matter. And Suzanne is here. And I was scared, because you go to other states, you from California, you get run off the road. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And hopefully, on a side note, within a few minutes of people talking to me, they know what I brought with me and what I left behind, and that's real clear, real quick. But we had, we had a goat die. Ground's frozen. Our little tractor can't get in the yard. Call Jimmy. Jimmy calls Ben, that's Suzanne's wife. Him and Jimmy Strom come up that day, load up their big tractor and come, bury our goat in the frozen ground, and they don't know us. I know that it's normal for all of you guys, but this is what we came here for. And we were doing a lot of work, and if I ever felt lonely and missed my friends, I knew that I could go to virtually any establishment in the Cottontown and Gallatin area and have at least a 30-minute conversation with a complete stranger and not feel so lonely. I mean, you guys laugh, because I know you know it's true.
It's true.
But you have no idea, or you do, or maybe you forgot, or maybe it's just there, so it's such a blessing. And as soon as I heard Greenway, I thought, oh, okay, I'm from California, so there was some language in there. It's gone. They're coming to take it. They're gonna build everywhere.
Right.
I mean, we uprooted our lives thinking this is where we were gonna spend the rest of our days. And in 5 years, 10 years, which will go by so fast, it will be gone and we're gonna be right back to square one. And everything that we invested, everything that we did will be lost. And by the way, in my house and my beautiful home that I left, because we were forced to move to the desert where it's just dirt just because of a lot of reasons, the people that bought my house that was just built in 2008 have never moved in because they just grow their pot inside the house, which makes it uninhabitable. So I'm telling you that when you bring that population, you bring that crime and you bring that riffraff, and nobody says hi, and nobody waves, and people are rude everywhere you go because there's too many people everywhere. So if growth has to happen, so be it. If farmers need to sell their land, they're allowed. Please keep the zoning rural. I'm telling you. And I was in real estate for 20 years, so I can attest. And you do it too fast, and you do it with crappy builders, and you get crappy houses with crappy material, and they all look the same, and you sneeze, and your neighbor says, you did that too loud. And the infrastructure, I've never seen one with this type of growth that set their infrastructure up properly before they did it. And it's too late after the fact, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't. I don't care what anybody says. And so I don't know if I heard this properly earlier. It does appear that you have some nominees maybe for the new planning commission. And I know that there's a huge group of people that want to get together. I would ask, with oversight by Jamie, that a person of that group, and I'm pretty sure they'll end up being sitting, or probably have already talked to them for all I know, but that as our, because like you said, you work for us, it's about what we want. Whether or not it's a one person, obviously I'm saying this is handled professionally, because this is a very emotional thing. Whether it's a set of questions that the people of Cottontown come forward, but since it's now out of the bag about what the plan was, whether it's going through or not, I think from a sense of transparency, which we all know is a huge issue in our government nowadays, that the people of Cottontown designate a person to be able to have the conversations with those people that you are suggesting that you all had the opportunity to speak with, so that we can feel comfortable. We can, obviously, you're gonna vote on and pick whoever you want, but if we're gonna work together, I think that would be a really good part in that step in working with Jamie from our area to be able to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. That last one is Dan Taylor. Again, state your name and address, please. You know the drill.
Dan Taylor. I live at 525 County House Road. It's at the very end. I come from this as the most recent resident. I lived here in Hendersonville and I moved away in '03. I'm back for family issues and reasons because I want to be a part of the life and lifestyle before you actually put people in the grave. We've got a 92-year-old grandfather and we have 50 acres of beautiful property. And I'm a bit of a crier, so I'm going to be as objective as humanly possible. But I've worked in public service for 15 years. I've been a paramedic, a critical care paramedic, and a firefighter. And I want to speak to some objective things to kind of solidify some of the emotions that are behind this. And if I speak emotionally, I'll cry. But taking notes from from today's meeting, just want to reiterate some of those things that I am very optimistic and joyous in hearing. I have that for you here. In the preamble, the statement was made in the very first line that the board, the commission here is subservient to the populace. In a way, this is a symbiotic relationship. I don't know who the actual customer is, but in a sense, we have a room full of bosses here, and we respectfully want you to be employed to handle the business of managing our area. I'm a very pro-government person to a fault. I work in government. The thing that has touched my life so profoundly is that I can't touch people without their permission, and I never have. I've T-boned people in intersections while driving my ambulance, and somebody ran a red light, and I almost got terminated. But I have never had any issues in my entire 15 years in the public sphere of caring for people because I take care of people. And that's what we want from this now. I just recently learned about this because a neighbor I never met came to the house while we were working on our barn, and he said, I don't know you, you need to be here. And I don't want to be here. I came from a very toxic work environment where I was on every board and everything because there just wasn't enough people. There are enough people, and you guys are so organized and clear, and the word choices are concise and appropriate, and I am emphatically optimistic to see where this goes. One of the other things that was brought up in this meeting today was to scrap the idea of time sensitivity for arbitrary reasons. If a pipe bursts, we expect it to be managed in the emergency. There was no crisis. We haven't had water for 30 days. There was no flood. We expect diligent recognition of what a time-sensitive manner is, because the populace here will not tolerate trampling on those words. So as much as we edited the bylaws and the agreements today on paper, that will be conscious in everybody's minds here, because we will disseminate out to the populace of what a time-sensitive matter is, right? With that, on to the next one. There was a comment about organizing information. And I worked through COVID. Everything was changing every day. The information from the left hand was bad, from the right hand was bad, and everybody had an opinion. But we fought so hard to get the information together so people could digest it however they wanted to. So I can't tell you how hopeful I am that gathers into a location where we can tell our friends and neighbors, this is the IP address. I can play the video for you. We can email that information back and forth and actually be a part of this, because a lot of people can't be here every day. And as much as you need to do your jobs, it is a long time. And I actually just feel burdensome to take up more of your time.
Right.
But these words need to be heard. 4, the comment on the public voting. If there is an opinion to be held in a public matter, it cannot be cast in a private vote. And so that was something that really made me profoundly prideful in the care that you're taking for this commission that you have. And we want to see people work with their opinions and their subjective ideas and concepts and place it in an objective manner for the public to digest. But that was something that I just had to commend the board here on bringing that element in, because that's a hard thing to execute and to keep. So I'm very pleased to hear that. The idea of infrastructure was one of the things that was brought up recently about the green space, what the floodplain is, what FEMA does, those types of things. But one of the things that was brought up was, where's the water? How do you get to do service in Whitehall? And we don't have any other public service people here. If we do, if anybody's there, there are some things that have been done that, from a public servant perspective, are not if, but when the problem will occur. Working in a different district with different water situations without hydrants, you fight a fire until you run out of water. You fight a fire until you literally crumple the hydrant because it's not there. So I am so pro for expansion, so pro for development, so pro for bringing people into the fold for what our community is in Sumner County and Cottontown as a micro. But it has to be done appropriately. We have rules for smoke detectors. We have rules for stripes on the road. We have rules for many things, because as much as we want to have our own plot and just do our own things, we live in an interconnected world. And we need people, and we need people in our lives. So we will have more people come to town. We will have those type of things happen. But we have to make sure we have the processes and systems in place to handle that arrival. And with those things that were brought up today that I already touched on, I hope that we can have a open conversation as opposed to a vague idea of what things are. So with time sensitivity, there's a volunteer fire department about 300 yards down the road from that school, and they have a sign. We just had an election. That could have been something in the fire department where they could have said, this is happening in 60 days. You know, if we can get an Amber Alert to somebody a state away for a kid, we can talk to people 30 yards away, 3 miles away, 30 miles away. We can make those things happen. And we will help you make those things happen, because you work for us and we work for you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor. Thank you. All right, that concludes our public comments on this agenda item on the Cottontown Community Center and Old Post Office property. Recommendation.
I just wanted to ask you to clarify something you said after the first comment about coming back looking at surplus. Yeah, there's 3 separate properties that keep being talked about, and they have different issues that go along with them. So I need to know which properties we're discussing specifically.
So whatever was deeded to the county from the Cottontown community.
So
I mean, that's
specifically the Cottontown Community Center, and not the properties that were the FEMA grants that were the individual owners.
Or those are individual owners, right? Those are not part of what the county received.
It was deeded to the county with the FEMA grants. With it, there's deed restrictions that have to do with any transfer and what we do with those properties.
I mean, I say we look at any and all options. Because what's going to happen is they're going to get together as a community. They're going to form some kind of corporation or trust or give us a plan. But I mean, we're not taking action tonight other than moving this to old business for November.
And that's very possible. I know with 2 of those with the FEMA restrictions, you have to do some improvement, get written permission by a FEMA administrator. There's an agreement process for for leaving the space open, basically.
I think what would be good is if you could provide for us, or the law department, that you guys could provide for us, what are stipulations? I mean, looking back, if we were to give that property, all of it, let's say that was FEMA flooded, back to and deed it over to this corporation, because the idea of the things they were talking about doing and preserving the land, and really taking government control out would be a good thing, in this sense. What do those options look like?
So look at all 3 parcels.
I think, yeah, absolutely, definitely, all 3 parcels is part of it. But obviously, at least what was the original deed that got deeded at a minimum, let's start there, but then all 3 properties, that's kind of the ask. And what does that look like? Because I'm going to ask of these citizens when we bring this back, like what have they done, report to the committee. Because, I mean, this is not going to get solved immediately, and whether it's next month or the month after, I'm not sure, because right now we've stopped everything from being destroyed and torn down, correct, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
So no buildings are getting destroyed, and so what is the community willing to do? What plan can they present to us? And they're going to hold another event, but I think make a motion to just let's move this forward for old business for November tonight, coming back with recommendations both of the community and I guess options legally, because our finance director asked me to get with you. Basically what would it take to declare that surplus?
There are ways to do it. know for at least the FEMA ones, and I'm 99% sure on the one with the community center was. The main concern with the community center would be the plan to move the post office there, and that continues if we were to then donate the land once the post office is there to the community center. In the future, if there was a plan for the county to maintain the post office, that would then go onto that community group. That would be the biggest concern with the other, which is a lot smaller hurdle, I believe, than the other two.
I think you probably ought to punt a little longer than 30 days.
Well, that's fine, but
And let them work on the court. Nothing's gonna happen. And, you know, like we talked earlier, there is a plan that can be formed, but I do think it'd take a little longer than 30 days.
Sure,
We
but
can do a report in 30 days.
yeah, but I want to move it under, we're going to move it under old business for November, so it's at least still an agenda item, and we can still talk about it. And we can get maybe an update, a status update of where the community is. I think it'd be good, just as far as having an update. I would like to see that in November. And that's only really 3 weeks away, technically, since we're going to be meeting, since we're meeting a week earlier. So instead of the third Monday, this commission will be on the second Monday, which means the committees will be moved forward. So so I move to defer this to old business for November. Got a second for Commissioner Brown. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously.
Can I, on the same topic though?
Sure.
So, I've spent more time on the phone with Cotton Towners than my family since the community center was taken down. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that because y'all are part of my family too. You're my employers. So, everyone has said they wanted to preserve Cotton Town. I would say that even Ms. Hurt, I believe that you even had that same sentiment. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm saying I believe, and then I know that Mr. Hurt said that too. There's been one person, other than the two Hurts, I just want to make sure it's noted for the record, that have said that they wanted to preserve it, but they were against a group, and they suggested selling the land off at auction to the highest bidder. And so you can see that I shared my opposition to this because I felt like it seemed counterproductive to what Cotton Towners wanted as a whole. And since I work for y'all, I just wanted to make sure that was stated because I do represent everyone, and I didn't want to leave that one voice out because they weren't here tonight. Even though I told them I didn't agree with that statement, I just still wanted to share it because it's what I'm supposed to do. It's what you elected me to do. But I'll make a motion that in lieu of what's
Well,
happened.
we've already made a motion, so we're.
Can I say this though about?
You say, but we've already closed this one out, so.
Okay, I can't make a motion. Okay. Well,
Yeah, we're-
Make a separate one later.
got it. Okay, well, then I don't make a motion. I make a non-motion.
Bring it back in November.
Okay, got it.
Did you say I'm saying, I just ordered
I got
business,
it.
I call you out of order on
You can
that.
make a motion
Can I ask
after
a
this
question
vote,
to the
right?
commission that's here though? Can I ask a
Well,
question?
we're late on time,
Okay.
we're already hour over, so I'm not gonna allow that. I will say with the Cottontown community, if there's gonna be another meeting, I mean, this is my binder from the Greenway sewer line fight, and there's a lot of stuff you guys don't know that's in this binder, and it's up here, and Commissioner Mo Taylor, who passed away, was the other half of that, so, all of them. So basically, there's a lot more to share about this, of what's going on, so, like you see, the tip of the iceberg, there's a lot more here. So it's a longer conversation, so,
I have a question.
okay, can you make it fast?
I really want to
We're
make
not
a
making a
motion because there's something that's important that it pertains to, that's time sensitive.
Mr. Chair, let it in. So, without objection, is anybody opposed to Commissioner Teachner entertaining a motion?
We do a motion to reconsider, Mr. Chairman, that way everything's parliamentary.
That sounds good.
Y'all keep it down for me?
So,
That
I'll
way we
entertain a
can-
motion to reconsider, the vote we just took on the Continental Community.
I think that'll get us back in line.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Back in order, if that's right
I
with
second
legal.
that
Any
motion.
second the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we moved to reconsider, so, now the motion is back on the table, to discuss.
I think we, point of order if I may, I think we need to get a motion and then a second, and then we'll be back in line.
Now that
for
you're
certain amendments.
reconsidering the motion that was already on the floor.
We're discussing
Commissioner
it.
Teachner could amend that motion,
Correct.
whatever motion he is.
That's where we're at.
Thank
So,
you.
so now there's a motion to amend, my original motion was to defer under old business for November. We've made a motion to reconsider the question, so now we're going to carry that forward and entertain an amendment to that
So
motion.
I move that and that first, I moved that we amend, but the reason why is because of just my newness, that I didn't know that I needed to make this before the fact. So just for the record, it was my fault, but, I moved that to amend, because in lieu of what's happened in Cottontown, and then in lieu of the Montclair, cluster, like that situation going on Jones, Jones Lane, then I move that we, as we move that to old business, we also put a 60-day stop to all zoning requests, approvals, variances, or anything that is a proposed change to property status in this county. Whether it be owned by the county or by an entity, including a developer or an individual, requesting such changes or variances. This includes the upcoming meeting of the BZA on this Thursday.
Well,
And
I'm gonna rule that motion out of order, because it's not relevant to this discussion or question, and legally, we'll be able to do it anyway, so.
is there any way to
That could
word
cause
that word that it would be legal?
Jamie,
Because,
you're out of order, man.
Got it.
We're gonna move on.
okay, got it,
I gotta
sorry.
call you down on that
But,
one. So-
you still need to re-vote because you
I
are
know,
going.
so we gotta move, so basically, I wanna, back to the main motion to move to defer. So move by Commissioner Hyde, seconded by Commissioner Brown, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. We still have more business, to discuss. Sorry, Jamie.
Group and approve.
Um,
You entertain a motion to group and approve?
Absolutely, I'll entertain a motion to group and approve all the commission recognition, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
Was there a second?
Commissioner,
I
we have a
abstain.
second? Commissioner
I
Brown?
would second, I thought I was making the motion, but
I
if you're
did
making the
too.
motion, I'll second.
I'll make the motion, you second it?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yes,
Sorry,
so all in
Clerk.
favor say aye.
It's okay.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Except
Commissioner,
that-
Teachner is an abstention on that one, since
Okay.
he's actually on the list. We still have, unfortunately, one more item of business with the zonings. These are all technically docketed. This is not for public consumption. The hearing's set for November the 14th. And so this is basically, do we even need to move to approve this? Or,
You do have to vote to approve
so
it.
we're gonna, I'm not gonna make a recommendation whether approving this to do it.
This is simply to get it to the commission where a public hearing has been
Can we
noticed.
approve it with form or something like that, or is there a way?
You just vote
We
on it.
move to
for-
approve, I'll move to approve this, to carry this forward to the commission for Monday for discussion. All in favor,
Group
and a
and
second. Group and approve all three zonings, A, B, and C. Hold on,
Second.
got a second,
Now it's on the floor.
discussion.
Would this be appropriate for me to put the hold on all changes? I just spoke with Josh.
You can't do anything about it now. If you have a question, you can't vote on it, or make an amendment or a motion. It's gotta be done on Monday at the full commission.
Okay.
Make sense? No, you can't, I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, it's a.
Part of the process is noticing the public that they go to the full commission. It's not to this committee. So if we were to kill it then and they've all been given notices to be at that meeting, it's a disservice to those citizens who would be.
Got it, okay. I'm just trying to, yeah, it's okay. It's fine.
That's right, you're trying hard, brother, but I'm.
Trying really hard.
Anyway, so I have a motion to group and approve. Did I have a second? Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. I need one more.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second.
Second. Commissioner Teacher, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right.